Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tough Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tough Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
What's up, family? This is Big Q chiming in for Tough Tiger Talk. Big ups to the family. Thank y'all for joining me on today's Tough Tiger Talk. It's game day. I wanted to give you a shout out. Big ups to the Tough Tiger Talk Nation. Much love and success on this day. We'll be back later on today after the game to recap the Ole Miss LSU matchup. We know LSU has a lot to play for, a lot of pride going into this final regular season matchup. Of course, the LSU Tigers have imposed a season bowl ban on itself to clear out the rest of this season. Of course, we want to play for a bowl with this, under the circumstances, but that's the dark cloud of it. The silver lining is the signing class that I want to go over. It's been a couple days, a day or so since the signing class. I was getting all my information together. I've been quite busy, but I wanted to drop this episode of Tough Tiger Talk on you guys and give you my thoughts on the recruiting class of 2021. And I'm very happy, man, because Coach O is one thing Coach O Durine can do, and that's recruit. And that's is a real plus and positive of what's been going on here. And as you can see, a really good signing that they were able to secure yesterday was the 4-star defensive lineman Bryce Langston. Is going to sign early with LSU. And of course, this the big defensive lineman who was originally thought to be waiting until the national signing period, but instead he committed with LSU on yesterday. Now, he's a 4-star prospect that give the Tigers another top 24/7 prospect in the trenches in the recruiting class. He joins 5-star defensive tackle Mason Smith, who signed Wednesday. So I'm really, really impressed about the LSU defensive line. Bryce Langston and, of course, Mason Smith make for an imposing defensive line added to what we have coming in. Now, to get into the article from Go 24/7, they're saying that the 24/7 Sports Crystal Ball in Red Florida for the in-state prospect entering signing day, but it quickly shifted as LSU sent scholarship papers on Wednesday and got 6'3", 250-pound lineman to sign. Now, Langston ranks as the 144th overall prospect in the country. He's number 12 in strong side defensive ends in the nation and number 22 overall prospect in the state of Florida. But here's a look at 24/7 Sports scouting report from the Southeast recruiting analyst Andre Livens, who compared Langston to San Francisco 49ers defender Ray McDonald. Remember him? He says he's a large body that can carry much weight, should be able to add more size once in college, as arms and legs haven't fully developed, has a low center of gravity, which allows him to bend out of the edge, get back to the quarterback comfortable, stand-up pass rusher, could eventually move inside as well. And of course, Coach O will use these guys in a multitude of different levels. So I'm really happy about the additions of Bryce Langston and, of course, Mason Smith. And, of course, the LSU kept it going, man, as they were able to even add, Edna Carr wide receiver Aaron Smith to the mixture. Now, this is for 2022, so Coach O getting that class going as well. And Edna Carr wide receiver Aaron Anderson committed to LSU on Saturday after picking up an offer from the coaching staff earlier in the day. Now, Anderson is ranked by the industry-generated 24/7 Sports composite rankings as the number 339 prospect in the nation, number 50 wide receiver for the 2022 class. Now, 24/7 Sports, ranks the 3rd-star prospect as the 72nd overall wide receiver in the nation and number 22 overall prospect in Louisiana. Now, he's 5'10", 175, a good speedster. He has a list of double-digit offers that included Auburn, Arkansas, Florida State, Kentucky. Pretty much a lot of people wanted this kid. And he's also a speedster. Like I say, he competed in a 100-meter dash. In 2019, Anderson helped Carr win his 4th consecutive state championship. A good player to add with that speed there. So LSU's 2020 class is ranked number 3 a class in the country as it stands right now, the number one class in the SEC according to 24/7 Sports, and it's headlined by 4-star Louisiana Lafayette. Out of Louisiana Lafayette, St. Thomas More quarterback Walker Howard. The class also included 4-star from Beaumont, Texas, Westbrook safety Bryce Anderson, 4-star Aledo, Texas safety by Brian Allen Jr., 4-star Warren Easton defensive lineman Sean Washington, 4-star lineman Lucas Taylor from Shreveport. And then it goes on, so the Tigers are really looking good for 2022 as well. So, man, listen, I love what Coach O is doing, building his team moving forward. And this was a really rough year, let me tell you something. But let's get into the signing day and go over some of these guys, and then we'll get into the regular roster as well. I won't hold you guys very long. Now, this is the signing day, the class of 2021 signing day. These guys are actually signed, and I'm really happy to see these guys. And you see Garrett is that with Nussmeier, he's a playmaker. Now you have TJ Finley there, you have Max Johnson, who looked good in the matchup against the Florida Gators. He'll get the nod against Ole Miss to close out the season. And of course, these guys have an extra camp over Garrett Nussmeier, but this guy is a playmaker. I love what Garrett Nussmeier will bring as a competing QB in that situation. And he's more than likely the future of the quarterback position in LSU. So we'll see how that shakes as he moves in as a freshman. Of course, Garrett Dillinger is a great addition to the offensive line with Shanahan and the rest of those guys. We'll see how he works into it. Peyton Todd, a punter prospect that's coming in. Greg Penn III is a real good linebacker prospect that'll help elevate the defense. Top JUCO prospect Navante Q Strong is another hitter, plays well. We was able to flip him from Mississippi State. You add Penn and Strong together, man, and boy, LSU's defense really gets a boost with those guys. Wide receiver tight end prospect Jack Beck is added to it. Athlete Malik Neighbors is another guy that adds more athleticism to LSU's offense, and depending on how they want to use him. Defensive lineman Landon Jackson is another guy that will add some depth to the LSU defense. Derek Davis Jr. is another really skilled defensive back to go back there with the rest of the guys. You got Matthew Langlois, who's also a ball player. This kid is a phenomenal talent who can play safety. They're looking at him as a safety, but he's smart, he's fast. You're gonna love this guy, Langlois, man. I was watching film on him. He's terrific. Deion Smith, the really crafty, really good wide receiver, has good hands. Really interesting targeted Deion Smith. Demarius McGee, another defensive back prospect there to help out. Corey Kiner, this guy is really a really good running back as well. To come in very shifty, was really successful at the high school level. Tight end Jalen Sheed, who should get an opportunity to play the tight end, depending on what's going on with Eric Gilbert. Of course, Coach O is trying to work with him to get him to return. Of course, he opted out the season. It's still up in the air whether or not he's going to transfer. So I've seen reports saying that he's thinking about transfer, but until it becomes official, we'll see. But Jalen Shed is the guy that could be the insurance policy if Eric Gilbert doesn't return to LSU next year. Big signing of, we covered Mason Smith, massive signing of him. What he does is he comes in right away and give them a massive increase in the interior of the LSU Tigers defense. We should be much improved up the center of the defense with the addition of guys like Langlois, Mason Smith, guys like Navante Q Strong, and of course Penn is another dude. So that was the onus on getting that defense strong. Landon Jackson. So I think that they helped that in part. But what about the offense? Okay, what about the offense? The offensive line, which will be helped out really well by Garrett Dellinger But still in all, LSU didn't stop there. They added a few more pieces. Wide receiver Chris Hilton Jr. was a really good pickup for him. Defensive end Xavier Carter was a really big addition. I'm really excited about him being added to the defensive line. He's a guy that can get sacks for you. He's fast off the edge. Looks like a linebacker, can play the defensive end position. A lot of strength. They're going to work on him. This kid will be a really solid key piece for LSU. Sage Ryan, another fan. Listen, Sage Ryan and Matthew Langlois, these guys will be ball players for the Tigers. Listen to me, these guys will step up and they will handle some business. I'm really excited about Matthew Langlois and Sage Ryan, what these guys bring. Running backs Corey Kiner and Armani Goodwin will add speed and versatility and power. Kiner is a good, kind of a shifty back, but can use power as well. Goodwin as well. And then really Bryce Langston, as I talked about opening up the show, adds that talent. So boy, listen, people are really excited about Mason Smith, but when you put Mason Smith with Bryce Langston, listen, man, I love this. I love what the defense is going to look like going into 21. Listen, these guys are going to add really good talent, so I'm excited about that. On the back end, we get some really interesting defensive prospects that can help right away. We get some real solid defensive line prospects that can help right away with Bryce Langston and Mason Smith, who's probably the belle of the class, and Xavier Carter. You throw him in there as well. So I love what they're doing, man. I think Coach O did a phenomenal job in adding these talented players. Looking at Garrett Nussmeier at the quarterback, adding more wide receivers, knowing that, we do have some young guys at the wide receivers, but adding some terrific talents. You'll see Malik Neighbors. You'll see him in that position. You'll see guys like Deion Smith in the wide receiver room getting an opportunity to perhaps get in there and make some plays. Chris Hilton Jr., a lot of people like him and what he can do. And of course, the signing of the running backs and Kiner and Goodwin are also solid. And I do like Jalen Shedd's addition, just in case Eric Gilbert it does not return to LSU. So they're trying to cover all bases. And then the 2022 class, we don't try to get too far ahead, but I'm liking how that looks as well. Let's move into the current roster as it stands right here. Man, listen, you add that talented signing day class with some of these players, along with who we already have for the upcoming year, and I'm loving it. The defense will look totally different. Now, the question is, Q, with the defense, we got to get rid of Bo Pelini, and I'm with you on that. Bo got to go. I'm most certainly with you. We'll see what Coach O do after when the season is officially over with. He did say some changes will be made, but listen, for people to think that guy has an opportunity to stay, only thing I can tell you is this. Only thing I can say is this. The boosters and a lot of the fans at the booster level it's pressure. I've been looking into tea leaves and I've been reading a lot and doing some research into the articles. A lot of the boosters are not happy with Bo Pelini, so pressure will be applied to Orgeron to get rid of him. That's all I'm hearing right now. Well, does Coach O buck the pressure and keep Bo Pelini there? We'll see. But he also needs to shake up his offense to a degree and move things around as well, become a little bit more innovative than what they were doing this previous year. And of course, we had issues with the offensive line. I think that'll be a lot better in 21. We'll see how it all shakes when it's final. But look at this class of what we got now with Keyshawn Booth and Eli Ricks, Eric Gilbert. Hopefully we can keep him. Dwight McLaughlin. These are really talented players that'll be a year into the system. And you add the guys that we had with these guys, and it takes on a different thing. Of course, John Emery Jr., we expecting him to really step up in next year to really bring, increase his abilities and really step out and make some things happen next year. So even though he's a sophomore, but a lot of people are expecting TD Price to return as well. But man, let me tell you something. I'm loving what they're looking like in 21. We still retain a lot of these people. Of course, we know Jacoby Stevens is going to go to the draft. We know that. Andre Anthony, he's a senior, so we know eventually he will move on as well. But there's a lot of talent there, that will be back for the 21 season to make it right. So, I mean, look at some of the talent. Just look at these guys, man. A lot of these are young players that will get better. next year. So it'll be interesting to see. And plus, the wide receiver core will look a lot different because, of course, Jontre Kirkland, he's a senior, so he'll get ready to move on. So it'll be interesting. It's hard to kind of look ahead, but Max Johnson and TJ Finley, these guys will be sophomores next year. And of course, you're going to have to throw a guy like Garrett Nussmeier in there with the rest of the QBs, and we'll see how that looks as well, because a lot of people like that kid and see him as a future player for them team. But Racy McMath and some of these other seniors, they'll move out the way for some of these other talented wide receivers to step up and make plays for LSU. And we're talking about people like Coy Moore, who's a freshman this year, who can really step up after having an opportunity to play this year. You're talking about Keyshawn Butte, who's another dude that should step up. So a lot of the wide receivers, and Coach O alluded to this early in the week, that a lot of the wide receivers in the freshman class will get an opportunity to step in and play. So a lot of our running backs should stick around and come back as well, with the Chris Currys, the TD Prices, and and so on and so forth. So, but Jabril Coxes and stuff like that, and Jacoby Stevens, these guys are going to move on to the draft. We know they're going to be draft picks at some level in the NFL. And man, like I said, man, I just love what's going on with LSU going into the future. Really solid class to build on top of the the Eli Ricks class, and of course Stingley's class, and then Eli Ricks class. When you bring those guys in, and then you bring all these other guys in here, I love what they're doing, man. So like I said, man, LSU, the future's bright. The future's bright. This year was, what can I tell you? This year it wasn't a good year. It was football, man, with the scandals. We're dealing with them. A lot of that should be over with. We'll see if the NCAA comes with any strenuous, any more punishment on top of the LSU program, besides them, stripping away their own, signing abilities to sign people, and of course them imposing a bowl ban and punishing themselves basically, so that the NCAA doesn't come in and do it for them. So it was a smart strategy, but we'll see if anything else is on the docket. But really excited, man. Really excited about the prospects of what it looks like, because defensively speaking, we lose Glenn Logan, who's been there. We lose Neil Farrell Jr. And of course, a lot of the players that opted out, they'll be gone as well. So still in all, these new guys, like I said, you're adding this talent to what you already have. And I mean, listen, man, Zach Von Rosenberg is a senior. He'll be gone, moving to the next level. So you got guys like Peyton Todd who can step in and step up for him. So I'm really excited and happy about what additions: Mason Smith, Bryce Langston. We talking about Navonta Q Strong. We talking about Greg Penn III. Those guys will be ball players to help the defense. From an offensive line standpoint, we shouldn't be much better. But like I said, I'm very excited about the prospects of LSU football in 2021. So I just wanted to drop this on y'all. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. If you're new to Tough Tiger Talk, please hit the like button, and also hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button. Subscribe to Tough Tiger Talk. It's the realest talk on LSU football. We in this thing. Hit the subscribe button and join us. And also feel free to share the links wherever LSU fans are, as we look to build this platform ahead into the future. So much love to you. I'll see you guys later on game day, after the LSU tremendous win over Ole Miss to close the season up at 500. I'm Big Q chiming out. Go Tigers.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.